Oh, what is this? Wait, stay, hold 5 seconds.
Here comes a new challenger!
Hello, you two. Welcome back. Today I'm here with one of another local heroes, as you can tell. For those of the people who don't know you or who haven't seen my previous videos, can you just tell me who you are?
Kush, better known as Kush is my cologne. Portland local, also local to this legend, ibuprofen.
Oh, appreciate the shout out. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for doing another video.
No problem.
Can you just tell me what you did? And,
top 32 at the in-person Oviedo. Sorry if I'm butchering it, in Florida. They're a test regional they had over the past weekend. So it was a 386 person event. They were doing the test regional, which was pretty cool because it was inside of a mall, but inside of like an abandoned or like a shut down Sears. So
that sounds so cool.
Yeah, it was kind of fire.
What deck did you bring with you?
Gecko Moria.
Oh my goodness, the Gecko.
Yes, sir.
What happened? Last time you were playing Sakazuki.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do the change?
Actually, what happened is I just get very unlucky with the deck. I was at Peoria. And I took Saka there. I played it. I had matchups where it just was like very unfortunate. It's probably just like a lack of me testing versus a lot of the rogue decks. But like I played like a Uta who the one game I played, he dropped 2 characters the entire game and he just kept going face. And I just wasn't prepared for that strategy. And I ended up losing because I didn't like prepare around it. I had too many bricks. I didn't have too many 2Ks. So I'm like, okay, this is how you play the deck. And then he did a different strategy. I wasn't ready for it. Then I played a Yamato who kind of did the same thing. And I was like, okay, like this is getting a little out of hand where I can't deal with rogue decks or decks that like are a sleeper. So just having an extra life feels so much more comfortable.
Yeah. How was the transition from playing Sakazuki into Gecko Moria?
It's pretty much the same. I mean, you do lose the aspect of like bottom decking, but the reducers are pretty much the same. The cards are like you trade out like Navy for Thriller Bark, and then like the core engine. A lot of them for both decks are kind of the same. Where like Gecko wants to cheat out Thriller Bark cards, and Saka has the Navy variants where you just want to play those. But like Rebecca, Hina, Lucci variants are the same. The 2Ks are usually the same, except for Virgo. Gecko Moria is the best card to set. So as long as we have 8 costs, it doesn't matter. I can play any deck with 8 costs.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. Top 32 is a really big deal.
Thank you.
How many rounds was that? X2, right?
Yeah, it was 8 rounds. So it was slotted to be 9 rounds. The pair down ended up losing, so he ended the tournament at 8. So it's supposed to be a 9-round tournament, but I think the other test event was the same as well, where they had 8 rounds. So it was supposed to be 9, but the pair down lost, so they ended at 8.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's good for me because I ended up losing my last 2. So
well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Super big deal. Before we shift gears and dive into your deck that you took with you, can you just tell me one thing?
What's up, baby?
How'd you know about the stage Sakazuki before it actually became big and took off in NA and EU?
My deck doctor friend Noel, free Noel. But I think as far as like deck building and just like deck lists and all that, I think he's just like one of the masterminds of it because he's always like creating decks. Like obviously, you know, over there in Singapore, they're like a couple sets ahead or set ahead.
Yeah.
So they kind of test the meta out a little bit before we do, but he usually posts like deck list prior. It's like, hey, this is what I ran for 06 or this is what I recommend for 06. And then people try it out. A lot of people didn't believe in like the stage variant for a little bit, but then like it started gaining popularity. Like as you see, Saka wasn't winning anything in NA for a while, and in the last like 3 tournaments has won every tournament.
All those stages.
So I do think that the stage like hybrid version is better. Like if you do like stage with like some ice ages, great eruptions, I think it covers your basis a little bit more. But the stage is really good. But like he said, the stage is primarily for like black mirrors, right? And a lot of people I think are just playing the stage wrong sometimes, or they're just like I need to play it versus anything. When it's like it's not necessary all the time. So that's where I learned from him because shout out to him, Free Noels, because he posts a deck list. I look at him and then we'll just like decipher them from there, test them out, and be like, okay, this is good, but like I want to add this card, or this is good, but like maybe I shouldn't have this card in. So,
right on. Well, I want to do a little plug to myself. Subscribe to ibuprofen.
Yo, subscribe.
Yeah, so you can hear from top 32 players like Kush himself, and go shout out, follow Noel on Twitter. You can Google him. I don't know his tags or anything, but moving along from that, let's dive into your deck. Can you break it down for me? Because your deck looks actually really unique from other Gecko Moria builds that I've seen on the internet. Can you just break it down for me?
Yeah. So you primarily the biggest difference is the Rebecca Hina engine. And then I would say the dog too. What the dog do, baby? The dog is a secret tech, but
Ooh.
the Rebecca Hina engine, usually people put like more brand news in and go with more of the Navy package for a little more consistency, which is good. But I think that like just Rebecca Hina opens up way more options because like you can play Rebecca Hina Lucci like how Saka did last set, where you're not always relying on like your boss monster. So you like there's turns where you might not have a Gecko, or it might not be like the best turn to play a Gecko because you need to like answer things or put blockers. So I think just having the access to like Rebecca Hina Lucci, Rebecca Hina Absalom, just things like that, or the this card here. This card is such an MVP Hina because you can have your worst turn. I think is probably like your 6 down turn, right? So you have access to play like a Hina and then play a 4 drop and pop something. So you're playing 2 bodies on in one turn, right? So like you would put your 6 down, put a down in their leader, and then that's 5 down right there. It's going to cost 2 more, so you have 3 left, and the Hina's perfect. You just play Hina, reduce something, and then you just play swing leader, play Absalom, pop it. Now you have 2 5 drops on board. You've answered 1, and it's hard for people to deal with.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think that's like the best part about it. And then like the dog obviously is a lot of people don't play this. I ran it at 3. I'm definitely going to cut this down because it was a little excessive, but this card is just very good for like Yamato matchups. Decks that can't deal with like chump blockers, like Black Yellow Luffy is like your biggest boogeyman in this set. So having this card where you can just consistently recur it off your leader if you need to is huge. You can play it on your 8 down turn. You can play it off a Moria. You can play it on 10. Like a Moria turn, you can say like you just need to get more value. You don't want to pop anything. You can play like Moria, Hogback, Dog, have the dog active, rest the hog back, and then you grab a 2K back, and it just gives you more value because like obviously they're going to probably want to swing into this, or if they're trying to lethal you, you have a blocker. So it makes it a little more difficult for your opponent to play around if they don't have the removal.
no doubt. Well, you answered a lot of my questions that I was going to ask you. So you're reading my mind. A couple interesting ratios I do see. I see you cut down the brand new to 2. Is there a particular reason why?
I've been testing it. Shout out to my boy Cross because like he's the one that is like in my opinion was one of the better Gecko players, and he's the one that's been testing out all these different ratios. So we tried like 1 dog, 2 dog. We tried 4 brand news, no brand news. I will bump it up. I am gonna probably change this to put a little bit more of it because without the brand news, you lose the consistency of the deck to an extent. Like obviously, if you can see, I don't have like a whole bunch of Navy targets, but it's still good to facilitate my trash. Like on turns that I don't have Sindri or like going second and I don't have it, brand new is just always a good option because like I'm just putting 2 cards into the trash. It might be 3, right? So it just opens up a lot more. So I was testing it at 2, and it didn't come up as much. Like it wasn't game breaking, but there are times where it's like I'm running out of like my trash because I Luchi'd once and I don't have that many cards in trash, or I just need to get something in trash to grab something back. Then brand new just makes it a lot easier for me to do that.
Another interesting tech I do see is you run 1 Tashigi. Is there a particular reason why you don't run 4 Suru? Is the ratio 3-1 right now?
Yeah, so it's 3-1. What I took, I'm gonna change it though. Actually, it's gonna be 3-1 the other way because this card is just very, very good. It's very underrated. I think that this is like honestly one of the only ways that you just beat good Sakas going second. Because like I said earlier, you want to play your Hina, right? You'll play Hina, you'll pop a body, and you'll play Gecko, right? But a lot of times what happens versus Saka, like I played my last 2 opponents were Sakas. One that won the tournament, and the other one was Jonas, which obviously everybody knows who that is. But they were just like when I played Jonas, he's just dropping Kuzan, like he didn't even care what I had on board. And if I don't have like the Great Eruption, like if you use Great Eruption Absalom to remove Kuzan, and then they get to their like Gecko Moria turn and they do a value Moria, and I can't remove it again, like I think I just auto lose the game there. So Tashigi is just really good because you can play your Tashigi instead of the Hina. You can pop their body, and then now they have to answer the Tashigi if they're going on their 8 down turn. And if they're only swinging 5 into it, that's a free 2K. And now they can't value Moria because if you play Kuzan and I still have this rested, I'm just going to pop it next turn, right?
Yeah.
Because then I just have to rest it, and then that's a neg 2 right there. Now Kuzan's a 2, and I can just pop it freely. So it just gives you a much easier way to answer Kuzan and forces your opponent to kind of change their curve a little bit. Because I think Saka is very, very strong if they get to play Kuzan just freely without worrying about it. And if they do and you can't remove it, you're just so far behind. I think you just lose the game from there. So Tashigi to me just gives you more value than Suru overall, like in the black matchup.
no doubt.
Yeah.
You just talked. This is a great transition. Can we just talk about your matchups? You play Jonas what? And you also lost to the person who won the tournament.
Yeah. So I had some weird matchups in the beginning. I kind of don't remember fully my second matchup, but my first matchup I played starter deck Red Luffy. I know that's one of your favorites. You got a couple videos of it, so yeah, I played a starter deck Red Luffy. They didn't play like that many new techs. The individual said they didn't really like change that much, so they were running the older deck because it felt fun. That matchup was. I mean, I remember how to play it because I used to play the deck, so it wasn't that hard. I think second round I played a Kata, won that one, and then it was a Reiju. Played that one. I won that one. I think I would have lost that matchup if my opponent would have transitioned to go face a little bit, but because Gecko's so strong with spitting out bodies like every turn, I had a full board, and my opponent was just like, okay, I'm like on death's door. I'm not going to lose next turn, so I have to kind of like start removing his board because I don't think I can kill him because I did have a lot of cards in hand. So he ended up trying to go for board, and I was able to just kill him through that afterwards. And then after the Reiju, I ended up playing the Kata. But funny story I didn't say is that we had a lunch break after the third round, I believe, and I ended up leaving my deck box because I was like in a rush to go get something to eat.
Oh my god!
And then I came back and I was like, oh man, like I didn't even know I didn't have it. And then someone came up to me and was like, hey, is that your deck box? I think, did you lose your Zoro deck box? And I was like, what do you mean? No, it's still here. And then like, I'm like, wait, what? So I go through my bag and it's not there. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I go up to the front and they have it. And they're like, hey, how can you tell us it's your box? And I was like, okay, there's 10 Zoro done in there, which if you can see, I have all 10. So they were like, okay, it's yours. So I got saved because I'm surprised no one took it. But like, then that's what happened. And then when we came back from lunch, I played another category. That game went pretty smooth. I think like yellow is pretty easy for black. Like you don't really need geckos. You can, if you get like one out, then usually it's in your favor regardless, but you swarm the board so much with Gecko Moria, I don't think they can deal with it. Then after the Kata, what else did I play? Hold on, I have it saved just in case. I played the RP Law on stream. Shout out to Diego. So yeah, that game was pretty back and forth. It was pretty fun. I think that the biggest issue with that was that he lost tempo because he didn't see a Reiju. He wasn't able to recur cards, so I just kept going face or board. Whenever he had something rested, I went for it. Whenever he didn't have anything rested, I would swing face, but he just kept removing my bodies, and I think I saw all of my Absaloms, if not 3 of them, and that just made it easier for me to deal with him. And then by the time, like, I don't even think I played a Gecko that game, but it was on stream. It was pretty fun, and that's where, like, you hear my boy Diego say, what the dog do? This card is insane. I didn't get to play it that game because I didn't feel like it was necessary, but it was a pretty back and forth matchup. And then I just ended up being able to clear his entire board, put him on, like, 1 life, and I had a board where he had to go for game. And it's just like, as long as I have I think all 2Ks, and then I had a 2K in life, so it was like there was no way he was gonna kill me.
Yeah,
and like I kind of already planned for that, where it's like, okay, I got to put him on a point where he either has to like turtle up or just try to go for it. And I don't think he has like he had like 6 down, so it wouldn't even. I don't think it would have mattered. And then after that, I played a Gecko, which was like superstar Yu-Gi-Oh player Jesse Cotton. It was, shout out to him. He's playing One Piece now, but we ended up playing the Gecko Mirror. That was a really good game. I think his version was a little more of the consistent version. So he was running like the Borsellino. So we were like kind of curving on each other, and then he had 2 Borsellino blockers. And I think if he would have went for board instead of game, he might have won that. But he ended up, I have enough counters just to survive his attacks. And then after that, I had enough to swing for game because I had like 4 attacks on board. And then that's when I played my boy Stingy, who won the tournament. Shout out to the boy Shmoyle. Played him, and I ended up losing to him because Saka, like if you play good Sakas as Gecko, it's kind of very hard to deal with. I only had the 1 Tashigi, so I didn't have like enough removers, and my first couple turns were really bad. I didn't have Sindris, I didn't play like any Absalons. I was just like falling further and further behind, and then at that point he just like ran me over. And then after that, it was I was X1, and I ended up pairing into Jonas, and there was supposed to be another round, but the pair down lost. So me and him were both X1, and I think it was just a Kuzan difference. Like he really like curved out real nicely, but he played Kuzan. I couldn't remove it the turn he played it. I removed it the turn after, and then he like value Moria'd me, and then at that point I just couldn't answer it because just having Kuzan on board is like pivotal in these matchups. Like if you can't get rid of it, there's nothing you can do. You just like almost auto lose to that deck.
What was Jonas playing?
Saka.
Just playing Saka?
Yeah, the list that actually won, I think, was the same as his list.
Okay.
So he's been throwing his list out there. It's the no stage variant too. Which one? So the no stage is just as good. Stage, no stage. I think they both do exactly what you want to do. It's just up to like how good the player is and how much knowledge you have of the matchups.
Right on. Was there like certain matchups? First of all, congratulations! You did
Thank
so
you,
well.
Thank you.
It sounds like you had a lot of tough matchups.
Yeah, I had a tough bracket.
Yeah.
yeah. I wish I didn't.
Playing a lot of notable players.
Yeah.
When you're playing Gecko Moria, just in general, are there certain matchups you want to see versus like ones you try to avoid, or is Gecko at a point where like it doesn't matter?
I feel like the deck is just so good and like consistent at like what it wants to do. Like if you look at like the future sets, right, like it's still like a top 4 deck. So it's like I feel like the deck was ahead of its curve. But obviously like Sakazuki is this, where that deck is just like fundamentally broken. So people just play that. But I think the consistency of this deck, with regardless of what engine, I'm not really worried about seeing anything. Usually it just comes down to knowledge. Like when I played Saka, my yellow matchup was like a little iffy because I wasn't completely confident in it.
Yeah.
But like now I feel completely confident. I feel like yellow's free for either deck. I think that the biggest like boogeyman to this deck is like Perona and Black Yellow Luffy, but those decks aren't popular, right? So it's like if you look at like Saka, where your worst matchups might be like Reiju or Yamato, like those decks are pretty popular. Yamato I think has been topping every event, at least one. I think Reiju the same. I had a couple buddies that top with Reiju, so I think that at that point it's just like you look at him like, okay, I'm going to see more of like Saka's worst matchups than I'll see of Gecko's, because you'll see maybe one Perona tournament, if that. You'll see maybe like now you might see more Black Yellow Luffy's, but it has some pretty bad matchups. So as long as I can like kind of avoid those, because I don't think they're unwinnable, but it really tests like your knowledge. You have to grind it out. You have to like every turn, every play, every like card matters. So it's just like thinking that hard into a matchup like that, where it might be like just so early, could be like a hiccup. But other than that, I feel like every other matchup is like pretty fine. The Saka matchup just comes down to like the cards that you draw, having more Tashigis, how good the player is, like things like that. So I think Gecko is like realistically one of the most consistent decks in the format. I don't know if people like rate Saka higher or not, but I really like the deck. I think the deck does everything it wants to do. The only thing it's missing is like bottom decking, but obviously that's Saka, so this deck is just broken.
Yeah, bottom decking is very nice.
But it does everything else fundamentally well. Like I'm able to cheat a body a turn. I can make you like remove card size. I can get back card size, hand size. I have like really good blockers I can cheat out. I have the same Navy package that's broken, like Great Eruptions, good Ice Age, like all the best cards work in it. And then this Gecko Moria is the best card of the set. So as long as I can put 4 of these in my deck, then I'm definitely going to want to play it.
No doubt. Well, thank you so much for sharing your deck.
Thank you.
I know the tournament was about a week ago, and you sound like you've been doing a lot of testing.
Yeah.
Do you want to share any of the changes that you're thinking about making?
Like I said, I'm probably going to drop the dog down to maybe 1 or 2. I'll probably try to bump brand new up. My Surus are going to go down, and then I'll probably put more Tashigis in because I just don't know how to deal with Saka any other way. Other than like the core, I probably won't change that at all. I have been like testing how important Sabo is, because there's been a lot of games that I've played where like it might not be as important as comparison to like the dog, because like the 2 draw pitch 2 does help like reset your hand or fix it, but realistically I think the matchups that you struggle versus, you kind of just need like blockers out, like chump blockers. Like I play this versus like a Yamato every turn and it just like struggle because you're at 5 life the whole game, right?
Yeah.
So I think like I would bump more Tashigis up. You can like do more brand news or Rebecca, like the whole Rebecca Hina Lucci, the Rebecca Hina package, or I know a lot of people like Kuzan in their deck. And then obviously like this card right here, Isho, is super huge for the Black Yellow Luffy matchup. So I've been testing it. I have it at 1. I might move it up. I don't really know if it's necessary, because at that point you just hope you dodge the matchup. Because like it helps, but like I think it makes the matchup from like maybe 80 or 20 to like 60-40.
And wow! Because is it really that difficult?
Yeah, because like it's a really hard deck, because they could just constantly cheat out 5 costs, and like you can't remove, because you don't have the bottom deck. So if you can't remove their Sabos, they get like turns where you can't do anything to them. So you just have to like go wide or go tall. And so like having like Lucci Gecko is really good, and then Isho allows it to, they lose cards if you make them lose like a Gecko or 2, the tempo swings in your favor, and then just having the -3 where you don't have to do too much to remove like a Sabo is huge. So I think that like this card is really, really good, but I just don't know if I want to put it in because it doesn't really help anywhere else. It's just that one matchup that you might not see at all. So it's more about just cross your fingers, pray to the One Piece gods, and hope that you just dodge Black Yellow Luffy the whole tournament. And then I think you don't need it. But if you think that it's like Black Yellow Luffy land, then you might have to put 2 or 3 in your deck. But other than that, I think the core engine stays the same. I would just maybe change Dog, swap Tashigi with Surus, and then potentially do something about the Sabos. But everything else is it's been like amazing. I wouldn't play without Rebecca or Hina. I know people like consistency, so it's okay. But like if you try that package and it actually works for you, I don't think you'll ever go back. It's just too good.
Right on.
It's actually just too insane.
Well, last point right here. First of all, always congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm not surprised.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure
seeing
being
you back.
here.
And just thank you so much for doing another video with me. Before I go, or before I let you go, did you have any last shout outs? I know you already shout out a bunch of people, but anyone in the community you want to thank?
My local store, we're at Chronos Games and Gifts. So if you're ever in the area, Beaverton, come check it out. But just this whole area. I mean, the networks that I've been able to like make, the friends, the social aspect of this game is what keeps me playing it. So like locally, the people I've been able to test with, all my friends, next time I need to bring like a whole list because it's like 50 to 60 people, so I don't want to leave like people out. But like everyone that I stayed with at the Airbnb when we were play testing the Oviedo, all the people that I'm gonna go see in the future, the people that are like I'm going to LA with, like all my groups, like all those people that like we theory craft with, even the locals, all that, because like all of that is just experience, right? The more you play versus people, the more you see how people play, the more like you test cards out, the better you get. So just to be able to have like such a big like group of people that I can just reach out to and play with is huge to me. Like I said, that's the main reason why I keep playing this game, aside from the prizing, because it's pretty good, but like the networking of it, the social aspect of this game is like real good. Don't cheat, boys. Don't cheat.
Oh, never. Well, congratulations, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, bro.
Your favorite I've known Kush for a long time. He's one of the homies, and he's been thirsting for that cereal. So hopefully he can get us.
Best of luck to him. I played him on Thursday here at the Versus Locals. Seemed like a nice guy. No,